good. Ow, Beasley. Hey, Beasley fought that. Hey, it can't fit on you. You think that can't fit? Oh my god, make the revolting. Yes, you want to imagine you're sweet. Of course.
No, sit down.
She wakes up and chooses chaos. You have a vet appointment today. TRE. Hi guys. Wait. Off we go. What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be filming a Q&A. I've been having the laziest, best weekend ever. I think I did film our new little morning routine, which we use the awesome self-stirring mugs that Vinny got me for Christmas to go on our dog walk. It's funny because when he got me those, I was like, oh cool, but I was like, when am I really gonna use these? But they're amazing because we don't have any like hot thermal to-go cups, so they're life-changing for the dog walks. But since then, it's just been an awesome lazy Friday, which I desperately need after the holiday season. But we're gonna do a Q&A, but first I wanna make a drink. So I showed you guys in our last couple videos our awesome new drink works. This is not sponsored, but this was a gift and it honestly is really freaking awesome. So I've mentioned that we were getting an order of new pods in and we got them in. We had it for a couple days, but I've been waiting to fully unpack it until we filmed. Vinny went to unpack it and put it away and I was like, wait, I want to unpack it on videos. We got really freaking cool things. I did crack open 2 of them because I had to try. So we got red sangria and then we also got peach sangria. They didn't have a white sangria, but they had peach, which I figured was close enough. It says the level of booziness and sweetness on it. So both of the sangrias, I think actually, are 2 out of 5 on the booziness scale and 3 out of 5 on the sweetness. So I knew that they were gonna be a little bit sweet for me. I'm obsessed with sangria, but I do need it to be on the drier side because it tends to be a little sweet. If something's a little too sweet as a sangria, I'll throw some Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay in it to kind of balance it out, make it a little drier, a little oakier. So I'm gonna try that, but nevertheless, they are really good. A lot of people were DMing me asking if it's overly sweet, and I will say just keep an eye out on the sweetness meter. The Moscow Mule is also a 2 out of 5 on the booziness and 3 out of 5 on the sweetness, so it's also a little sweet. I haven't tried that one yet, and these 2 I got are cool because it actually was listed on the website as a 100 calorie or less pod, a rosé spritzer, and then also a lemon bubbly. Ooh, made with limoncello liquor and white grape wine. And then this I thought was so freaking cool. So usually they come in a tube like this, but they had something called Fireside Cocktails, which I actually should probably have one of those tonight. Fireside Cocktail seasonal batch. We have a spiced punch. This is a winter mule, bourbon whiskey, apple cider, and ginger beer. A ginger snap white Russian. I made a couple white Russians during Vlogmas, so it has like coffee, liquor, vodka. This machine is really freaking cool. And this one is a pomegranate elderflower spritzer. It has elderflower liquor, which I have grown to love, white wine, and pomegranate juice. It's only fitting that we have something that's in the Fireside collection because we're gonna be sitting by the fire, but yeah. I'll keep letting you guys know how I like everything as we go through the pods. A lot of them will tell you how to serve it. So like the lemon bubbly, it says serve in a stemless champagne flute with a lemon peel twist. Or the red sangria, it says serve over ice in a wine glass with fresh fruit. So like it will tell you how to serve it. And it even did that on the coasters, which I don't even know where they are right now. So this is how I have it set up for now, not the most organized. We're gonna start with the pomegranate elderflower spritzer and see how that is. I love when it makes that noise. Yes, because that means it's gonna be fizzy, which I love. That's the CO2. That is so good. That is easily my favorite by far. It's not too sweet at all. It's 2 out of 5 on the sweetness, so that one little bracket makes a difference. So let's have a little fireside chat. If you are new here, which I doubt you are because I feel like a Q&A isn't a very common video to stumble across, those sounds are my dogs running and playing, which they only seem to do when they know I'm about to film. It's actually really cute though. They have like this rope toy and they'll run around like if this is it, like holding either side of it, just running straight, and it looks really funny. But I got actually a comment that's what inspired me to do this, saying like, hey, I'm a new subscriber and I know nothing about you but your first name. Like, do you have a Q&A? And I realized I hadn't done one in a really long time. So I haven't looked at these questions since they came in. So first one, really random one, but someone said, how do you keep your nails so clean as a hairdresser? Because I feel like mine would always be ruined. When I first started shampooing, they would always be destroyed. And then I always wanted tips or gel fill-ins or acrylics of sort, but I thought that I couldn't because my hands were always in the water. Started getting them right before my 21st birthday, and I'm over 25 now, and I love them. I just got them done, and these are just like, and I always switch up the shape. Like these are just like a little short coffin. I'll try and insert a picture because that's a really bad angle shot, but yeah, so that's actually way better for them because they don't peel because I get gel, and they don't break either. I am really bad in the sense that the last time I got them before yesterday was before Christmas, like beginning of December. Like I'll go a month, I'll go 3 weeks. Like I'm not the best at keeping up with them, so they don't always look great. And when I get a light color like this, they do get stained with dye. I do wear gloves all the time, but especially when blow drying it. If I do a super dark or bright color and I'm like rough drying them, I'll rough dry with my left hand, so this one will get a little stained from residue. But if I know I have a lot of bright colors coming up, I'll do a maroon color, but I do like the light colors. All right, some really basic ones. How old are you? When did you get married? And what did you study after high school? So super simple, turned 25 in September 16th, 1995. I'm a Virgo, if you couldn't tell. We got engaged, honestly, really young. I mean, not really young, depending what state you're from, but for Long Island, New York, really young. My parents didn't get married till they were in their 30s. Like it's very common to wait, and I always thought, I didn't even think I was gonna get married, but if I did, I was like, oh, it's definitely gonna be like mid 30s. And we actually got engaged at 21 and 23, which is like hysterical, because now that I say it, I'm like, oh my God, we were such babies, but I didn't really feel like we were 21 and 23. We were living in our own apartment. At that point, I had had my own business for 2 or 3 years already, and we just got Beasley. So like I didn't feel 21, and I think other people too. Like I had clients like, what'd your dad think? Like kind of expecting my family to be upset because I was so young, but my dad kind of felt the same way as me. Like I was completely financially independent at that point. I was already moved out. So got engaged 21 and 23, and then we got married when we were 23 and 25. It will be 2 years in May. After high school, I went straight into beauty school. What is the best way to keep your relationship strong? I feel like that answer would differ based on who you asked. It could probably even differ based on me and Vinny, because everyone's love language is different and what everyone needs to feel like fulfilled in their relationship is different. But for me personally, just keeping things interesting, and I've mentioned this in my last video, like just doing like little date nights at home. I romanticize everything. So for me, instead of being like, all right, I'm gonna get home, we're gonna watch TV, I'll be like, hey, when I get home, like we should order sushi, watch this specific movie, and like kind of like make it exciting. And I don't know, for me that really works, and Vinny knows that. Have you ever seen that TikTok where it's like, hey babe, do you want to go to Target and then Home Goods and then Starbucks? Like that's me. If the angle keeps changing, it's because I have to keep chasing these freaking dogs around. They're laying down with me on the couch all day, passed out, but the second I'm doing something, they try and get my attention like toddlers, and will like run around with something they know they shouldn't have. Like they do this all the time. It drives me nuts. But that's how I like to keep our relationship strong, and also just like communication. At least for like an hour a day. I don't want to just like sit there on our phones like half watching something, because for us, like I feel like we really connect, and it sounds corny, but like we really connect when we're like cracking up over something. Like that's our favorite thing to do, and it happens all the time. Like we're just stupid and like we'll just be dying over something, and that's when I feel the best in our relationships. Maybe if I pick up Harlow, they will stop. Someone said, how's the house remodel going? So I know I'm constantly freaking talking about this stupid renovation, and I'm just like, nothing's been happening, but I'm gonna explain this more when I post the architect video, which should hopefully be soon, hopefully within the next month. Our original plan when we got this house was to save and just pay off for each project as we go. In 3 years, we'll do the kitchen, and then 2 years after that, we'll do the exterior, and then 2 years after that, we'll do the dormer. But the reason that I got all excited over the summer and was like, we're gonna do the remodel soon, is because we were going to refinance, because the interest rates were so low that basically we were going to be able to do a lot of the remodeling for no extra cost, because it'd be built into our monthly payment, but the interest rate is so low that it would balance out, if that makes sense. So basically, let's say we were saving a couple $100s a month off of the interest rates because they were so much lower, we would just keep it the same and just have that extra couple $100s a month be going towards renovating. So that was the plan, and that's why I got all excited and I wanted to do it ASAP. And we started the process in June for refinancing, but since I'm self-employed, they give me such a hard time. That's the thing. Someone said, oh, is it like really hard to do like your own taxes? I have an accountant. He is worth every single penny I pay him. So that is not hard. What is hard if you are self-employed, at least in New York, is getting approved for a loan or a mortgage. It is absolute hell, and we never want to do it again, but we are going to, because the interest rates were so low, it'd be worth it. And I love our mortgage broker, I do, but I asked her when we started the process, is it gonna be easier than when we got approved for the initial mortgage a year ago? And she was like, yeah, it won't be that bad at all, and it was worse. The best way I could put it is, as a self-employed person, if I spend $3 at Dunkin' 2 months ago, they're gonna be like, can you explain this $3 charge at Dunkin'? So every month we were just trying to do what they asked, and it just became so annoying. So we ended up saying, okay, screw it, let's just save normally right now, and then in a couple months, once Vinny starts working, then we'll just use his income and then mine, because that'll be way easier. We're still doing that this year, we just have to wait a little bit, but I do want to do the studio soon, and we'll just pay for that first, like, it's fine. I just haven't been planning it as much, because I did get let down a little bit, because I was told in June, oh, September 1st, you send this, then we'll be ready within 2 weeks, and I was so excited, hired the architect and everything, and then I find out, like, oh no, we just need this. So it was kind of disappointing, so that's why I am just putting my thoughts and focus into something that I can do right now, like the studio in the back. It's like, okay, that I know I can do. So as soon as I can share the process with you guys, I will, but I'm so excited for that. Someone said, how would you describe your home decor taste, and is it going to change a lot with renovations? And that's a really good question, because, and I was just talking about this with Vinny, I feel like my exact home decor taste doesn't really translate in the house the way that it currently is, because a lot of the stuff was already there, if that makes sense. So for example, our dining room table, which I would show you right now, but has stuff all over it, I am obsessed with it. That is my style. It's just a gorgeous wooden table from West Elm, but the thing is, I feel like it can translate very differently depending on what room it is. So in my dream dining room, I would have a Serena and Lily basket pendant and have like these really boho chairs, so I feel like it would really translate more Scandinavian, bohemian, which is more my style, versus since it is in this room that has a brick fireplace, which we love, but it's a white brick fireplace, it looks very farmhousey, which I love a little bit of farmhouse, but I like a European farmhouse vibe. I don't love a modern farmhouse raid done vibe. Like, that is not my style at all. We've had people come in the house like, oh my god, I love it, it's so farmhousey, and I'm like, ugh. I would say my style is modern European farmhouse with some like Scandinavian bohemian in there. I'm just over everything gray. My ring is rose gold, my jewelry is gold. Gray hair doesn't look good on me. Even when I wear gray sweatsets, like light gray, it doesn't really do anything for me. I look better in warm, beige, tans. I love World Market, Restoration Hardware, all those things. Someone said, would you recommend being a hairstylist as a career? And personally, 100% hell yes. I say all the time, like if my daughter wanted to do this, I would be so happy if she had a passion for it, of course. Don't get me wrong, our job is not easy. Like standing all day on your feet is way more than people think. Obviously, look at me, I have early onset carpal tunnel and I got a cyst removed from overworking myself. I do it too, but you don't have to. I definitely recommend it. It's not gonna be easy. I have to get my drink, but Harlow's gonna be upset. It's not gonna be easy, but I think every year as you grow a backbone and you become more experienced and you're just more confident in yourself, I have the best job in the freaking world. Which brings me into, someone said, do you ever see yourself doing YouTube full time? My goal is never to replace doing hair, but rather, I want a second full-time career. Since I already make my own schedule, it's a little bit easier. I can split it up. I can do 20 hours doing hair and 20 hours doing YouTube. So I kind of want to tie the two together, and I want YouTube to be an additional career for me, but I would never want to replace it altogether, because also I feel like hair is just such fun content. What's the biggest lesson that you learned in 2020? Honestly, you can't plan for anything, so don't try. Don't take for granted the little things, because you don't know when that's gonna be the norm again. Do you miss being blonde? And someone else asked, what's your next hair color? Do you wanna go back to platinum blonde? So I do miss being the pink, but not enough to ever do it again. So I was really nervous when I was gonna dye it darker and back to this, because I was like, oh my god, I'm going to freak out and want to go back light again. But I tried to wait until I was really, really sick of it, so I didn't, and I'm happy. I don't think I'll ever do it again. I love the rosy pink, but it is just way too high maintenance, and my poor little baby hairs were just fizzling off, because as careful as you could be with retouches, you're gonna have some hairline overlap. So my hair is just way healthier this color. I go back and forth on when I want to change it, because I've been basically all colors of the rainbow, but when I do change it, I do want to go back to something more natural. But I've tried to do that 2 or 3 times now. I think when I started doing YouTube, actually, curly. It was like a Rudy going into a blonde balayage, like trying to grow it out. And I get to this point where the roots are like down to here-ish, and I'm just so sick of it, and I feel boring, because I'm like, I'm a hairdresser, I should have fun color hair, and then I convinced myself to change it again. I want to do like a blonde color, but I need to wait longer because I know if I do, I'm gonna get bored of it again. Don't really miss being blonde enough to change it, and I don't think I'll ever be going back platinum again. How did you and Vinny meet? Okay, so I don't know. I was trying to ask him too. I was like, do you remember if I ever talked about this in a Q&A? And I don't remember if I did or not, but basically me and Vinny knew each other in high school. He was 2 grades above me, so when I was a sophomore, he was a senior. Didn't talk at all in high school, but we were friends. So I'd always go to his house for parties, and he had a crush on me. Hair flip, just kidding. Nobody actually did. Fast forward a couple of years, he graduated. We didn't really talk again after that, and then I was just ending my senior year in high school, and he was in school to become an electrician. I saw him at the gym, and I was with my friend Jenna at the time, and I was just like, is that Vinnie Palmeriabby? Because he looks really good. Ran up to him and was like, hi, oh my God, I didn't see you there. Like all casual. And then we would just like DM on Twitter here and there. And then we were going to a nightclub called Bedrock. Yeah, I do think I've mentioned this before. I'm sorry if you've heard this before. There was a nightclub called Bedrock, kissed when we were out, and then I didn't want to sleep at the house that I was supposed to. I mentioned that, and he was like, oh, well, you could sleep at my house. And I was like, I'm not doing anything with you. And he was like, cool, I didn't ask you to. I'm giving you a place to sleep, stupid. So I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Went back to his house, rented Harry Potter and his TV for like $8, ate Nutella out of the cabinet, and fell asleep. So I woke up and I was like, oh my God, this kid is going to be like, you rented Harry Potter for $8, ate Nutella and fell asleep, like, go home. And instead he was like, oh, so what are you doing today? I was like, oh, I work at Starbucks later. And he was just like, oh, cool, do you want to go to Dunkin' first? It was literally history from there. So he dropped me off at Starbucks. I didn't have my own car yet, so I'd always just get rides from my mom or dad. I got my own car myself, so it took me a little bit longer, because that was an issue I would have all the time too, is like, I'm the type where whoever I'm in a relationship, I want to be friends with them too. And remember whenever I used to talk to guys, it'd be like a Tuesday. I'd be like, oh, do you want to like go to Five Guys? And they'd be like, it's a weeknight. And I was like, ew, just no fun. And Vinny was like totally down for anything too. Like I'd be at work and he'd be at work. I'd be like, oh, after this, do you want to go see a movie? And it was like a Wednesday night. So I loved that. So I'm not kidding when I say that day he dropped me off for work at Starbucks, and then after he was done with work, he picked me up, and then we literally hung out every single day since then. And we actually ended up basically living together the summer after, which, like I said, is so crazy when I think about it now, but we were just inseparable. Maybe 3-4 months in, I either slept at his house or he slept at my house, but every single night we were together, and that was it. Would you ever move out of New York, and where? And this is something that stresses me out. I don't know why. I don't want to move permanently. I love our house, and I really feel like it's gonna be such a good investment, because it was very expensive when we bought it, but compared to the house prices now in New York, it is a really good price, especially for what we got for it. And I just know with all of the improvements that we want to make, it's only going to go up. And I love our area, and I love everything about it. I say this all the time: backyard, schools, neighborhood, neighbors. I love it all. Don't want to move, but sometimes it kills me to think about how if we moved to Texas right now with the money that we paid for our house, we would have like a mansion basically. Like that's how expensive Long Island is, and we'd still be paying like $1,500 less a month just based on taxes. Like it is crazy out here, but I do love it. And my whole thing too is I would never want to stop doing hair. But what I would be down for, and I just brought this up today actually to Vinny's, I was like, if let's say he was to get at a job where it ends up being work from home, but the headquarters is in like Texas, and you just have to go there for like a year for training, I would love to do that, because we have it all planned out. Is we would take the dogs and we would go there, rent a house with the dogs, and once every like 6 weeks or so, I would come back here, just work for like 7 or 8 days straight just to get all my clients in, then go back and chill in Texas. So I would love to do that, like Texas or Colorado. But I also don't know if I would love to do that, because then I don't want to fall in love with another state, because then it would just confuse me. And I really wish I was the type of person, like I was listening to the Skinny Confidential today, and they just moved to Texas, which I think is so freaking cool. And she was like, yeah, maybe we'll be here for 5 years and then maybe we'll move again. And I love that mindset, and I'm kind of jealous of it. I'm good with the nomad life, but my issue is I cannot put my all into everything if I know I'm not gonna be there forever. So for example, in our apartment, I didn't do anything to it because I knew that we were leaving. In my solo salon studio right now, I never do anything to it because I know I won't be there forever. So if I knew I wasn't going to be in this house forever, I wouldn't be putting all the time and energy that we are going to be putting in it to renovate it. So that's why it kind of stresses me out a little bit. I don't know. I don't think that we're going anywhere, but it's hard when you think about how cheap it is everywhere else. How old are you and Vinny? I think I mentioned I'm 25 and he's 27. Someone said, would you do cosmetology school again? How hard is it? And what is the worst part and the best part? Of course I would do it again because it brought it to here. It's hard to remember now because it was 2013. Wow, that's crazy. 8 years ago. It isn't as easy as people think. I will tell you that much. We had a lot of people drop out because they just thought it was me like playing with doll heads all day, and there's a lot of textbook work. I'm not saying it's harder than college, especially depending what major you're in, but like for the 10 months I was there, it was way harder than the friends that I had at the time, what they were doing, because they gave us this Milady, you guys know, like the Queen of Milady or whatever it is, workbook. It had 1,000 questions in it that you eventually had to fill out by the end of the year. Write in questions, like not multiple choice. So it is hard, but it is doable. I wouldn't say I passed with flying colors, but I made it through. It's a lot of things like biology, and it's a lot of anatomy, knowing the different bones in your head, knowing the different chemicals that are in perms, knowing different, like a lot of stuff like that, like disulfide bonds. I remember just like the different types of diseases that your toenails can get, and there's like 100 different diseases, and it all starts with O-N-Y, onychondria. What year was this law passed? Like a lot of stuff like that condensed into 10 months. And also we would get, oh my God, I think they were called boxes. We'd get one sheet a month, and it would have like 30 boxes on it, and each box was a different task. So like do finger waves, do this, do this, do this, and you had to, in your downtime off from clients, do that on your mannequin, get it signed off by one of the teachers, and that had to be done every month. And if you fell behind on your boxes, you would have to come in after school hours to make up boxes. And if you missed or needed over 100 hours, then you need to pay extra, like $12 an hour. Like, I don't know, wild. So it was a lot, but it's totally doable if you're passionate about it. Don't fall behind because you think it's cool, because it's not cool when you're already paying a lot for tuition and now you have to pay $12.50 an hour to make up for it. It's stupid. Best part, I don't know, being done with it. Yeah, someone said, did you have to go through anatomy? My hairdresser said she did, and I'm in Florida. It's not like you're taking an anatomy course through college, but you do have to learn anatomy. I wish I still had the Milady textbook, but I think I burned it. Like, I was so over it. Someone said, could you talk about going into a salon after school? I'm currently doing that. And someone said, tips for newer stylists. And I would say my tip for a newer stylist is to go into a salon after school. So not even to be a stylist if you don't want to. That is usually the way it works. I actually never ended up even being a stylist in a salon, which is crazy, but I was just an assistant, because in New York, at least, I don't know how it is in other states, you are an assistant first, which I'm totally fine with. Do your dues, all that stuff. Maybe be an assistant for 6 months and be moved up to a stylist, but you could be an assistant for years because they could get away with paying you less. We'd be an assistant getting like $50 a day for like a 12-hour day, not including tips, horrible wages. And they would have us be doing like the pick up slack blowouts and root touch-ups and this. And they were like, oh my God, they're having me do it because they trust me. And I'm like, no, they're having you do it because then they don't have to pay the stylist 50% commission to do it, and they can just keep paying you the $50 a day. So I don't know. Anyway, that's why I never became a stylist after. I worked 6 months each at 3 different salons, so like a year and a half, but I did do it through beauty school. So after a year out of beauty school, I quit and I was on my own. The first 2 salons, I probably couldn't have done it on my own, and I probably wasn't even ready to be a stylist either because I was still learning a lot just by watching. But by the time I was at my last salon and I was taking clients on the side, I was definitely ready to become a stylist, and they knew that, and they just didn't want to up me. So then I quit, and then they were like, oh, do you want a chair? And I'm like, nope. I would say my tip is to be a assistant at least. Not even learning how to do hair. I don't think I learned how to do hair, but just seeing the consultation and how they booked people and what you did when they walked in. It's like these little things that I probably never would have known. It's like common sense, but it's not, you know? The shows you're currently hooked on. I did decide to take the plunge, and I wanted to get into a Bravo show, which I've been meaning to do forever, because the only Bravo show that I know and watch and I'm obsessed with is Vanderpump Rules. but I wanted another, so I asked for everyone's recommendations, and I wanted someone to tell me if I should watch Summer House, Below Deck, Real Housewives, and which state of Real Housewives. I must have gotten 100 answers, and there was equal responses to everything. So I was gonna start with Below Deck, but it's only on Peacock, and you need a freaking Apple TV to watch Peacock, and we have Samsung. So we started with Housewives, decided to start with Beverly Hills because of my girl Lisa Vanderpump, and we love it so far, and Vinny watches it too. I think I've dedicated the next decade to watching every single housewife. Like, that's the goal. We did start watching Virgin River, and I really liked it because it's literally the plot of the corniest Christmas Hallmark movie ever. Like, big city girl goes to the small town, didn't know a city girl could shoot a whiskey. Like, it's just so corny and adorable, so I love it. Someone said, which hair color is your favorite? I want to go back to red, but nervous because the blonde took so long. Biggest tip, and it's what I tell my clients, if they want to chop it or dye it dark, wait until you're really sick of it. Don't do it when you're like thinking of doing it and you're like, oh, that might be cute, because you will regret it. Wait until you're like, I want to shave my head because I'm so sick of my blonde hair, and then do it, because that's where I was at. I got a rosé spritzer this time, so let's try it. Oh my god, these are so good. 2 for 2. It's not strong at all. Like I said, the most recent ones I've been drinking are a 2 out of 5, so they're definitely not super strong, but it's not overly sweet, which is interesting. Like, you would think that the rosé spritzer would be so sweet, and I actually feel like it's not. It's, someone said, how would you describe your clothing style? And I feel like everyone feels like this, where it's like, what is your style if you weren't lazy and actually dress the way that you liked and wanted, or what do you actually end up wearing? I actually asked Vinny right now, what would you describe my clothing style as? Because I feel like I'm just gonna describe it like how I want it, not how it is. And if it was how I wanted it, I love boho. Vinny said, I knew he would say this, because whenever I dress, like whenever I'm not in like work outfits or sweatpants, he always says I look very like 90s hip hop hair, which there's definitely worse things you could call my clothing style. What I am and what I know I am is just like loungewear, cute sets, sneakers, slides. The only thing I'll invest in besides a bag is a cute pair of slides. What I want to be is a little bohemian. What's the top things on your bucket list? I'm new to your channel and I'm obsessed. Thank you. Do the renovations, go back to Europe. Preferably just travel everywhere, but being realistic here, not asking for a lot. I'm very happy with where I am career-wise. Obviously, I want to do more with YouTube and everything, but honestly, I could stay exactly where I am and be happy forever. Relationship-wise, career-wise, house-wise, I'm very happy with where we are now. So those are just the 2 things I just really want. Do you ever get burned out from doing so much? I need tips. You're a huge inspiration. Thank you. Yes. I actually did decide to take a step back from tie-dye because although I love it, it was just that 3rd full-time job that I could just not commit to taking on right now. And I was really just having so many issues with shipping and the postal service during December that it really just turned me off the whole damn thing. But I do really like it, and honestly, I have so many good ideas of where that could go to. I think that's the issue with being an overachiever, is that you don't want to just stop doing something because you're like, well, it could turn into this, and it's so hard to like know when to not go forward with something just because you can, if that makes sense. Like, even with a salon, I know that I could create a storefront, to be honest, it would be very successful. It's not even a probably, like, I know it would be successful, but that would not be worth the energy. I just know that. So it's kind of coming to that point where just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should. Other tips for burnout: if you can, divvy up the days. If you do a lot of different things like I do, try and divvy up the days. 3 or 4 long days at the salon, 1 or 2 days for YouTube, 1 day for tie-dye. Divvy up the days. For me, that's easier than being like 9 to 3 I'm gonna do hair, then 3 to 5 I'm gonna do YouTube, then 5 to 7. It's just too much. But if I do have a day where I want to conquer everything and I can't, Vinny always tells me, he's like, okay, pick one thing. When you have a million things to do, you almost get nothing done because you're just stressing over how you have a million things to do. He's like, pick one thing, do it. No matter what else on your list you get done, you did that one thing, which is very good advice because like I said, sometimes you're so overwhelmed, you don't even know where to start. No, you can't always do everything. We have a really, really bad hustle till you die mentality, our generation, and we gotta chill. We have got to slow the F down. We're gonna all have heart attacks by 35. Ooh, my client Demi asking the good questions. Little things that make you happy. Everything. Morning walks with coffee, the dogs walking together. I love that. It makes me so happy. A perfect cup of coffee, a clean house, candles being lit, being showered, shaved, and moisturized in a cute outfit, like a cute cozy robe. Oh, robes. The feeling of just publishing a video. The good feeling after a day of hair where I just like loved how everyone came out and I knew everyone was really happy. Hanging out with friends, which I feel like because of the pandemic, we have not not been doing as much obviously recently, but we are having a little cocktail night in a few weeks. I think we're actually doing that here. So that should be fun because I miss my friends. Airports, love airports. Airports make me so happy. Greatest fears, airplane crashing into water. I'd rather the airplane crash into a forest and go on fire than I would water body, even if it's shallow. Freaks me the F out. Biggest insecurity personality wise, I do wish whenever I'm editing that I would enunciate more, especially me and Vinny. I've never noticed until I started YouTube. We sound like we're speaking our own language sometimes because we mumble, especially him. Like he'll talk so low, but like I can hear it perfectly. But I'm editing it and I'm like laughing. So I'm like, who can understand this? So a lot of times I'll keep in a conversation that I know you guys probably can't understand, but I can. So when I look back on it, it will make me laugh. I just feel like we just don't make sense. So I guess that we need to enunciate more. Like, I don't know why we do that. What are your least favorite parts about your job? Something that I haven't repetitively said, probably when I explain something to someone and then like they just weren't listening. So then they text you about it. Whenever I do a reverse balayage, so for example, taking someone that's blonde to a dimensional brunette, I always say I'm taking you a shade darker than your goal, so that way when it fades, which it will, it's gonna fade a little bit every time you wash it, especially the first wash or two, it is going to fade nicely. Someone actually loves the shade darker, and then it faded a little and they were like, why is it becoming lighter? And I was like, well, if you remember, probably that, because then it makes it seem like I'm trying to be sneaky, where it's like, yo, just listen. Do you like design or do you consider yourself materialistic? I don't think so. I do have a couple nice things. I mean, by a couple, I mean like a very few. I have my Givenchy bag that I bought for myself for my 21st birthday. I would like to buy myself a YSL bag for when I hit 10K. I have a pair of Givenchy slides and I have a pair of YSL slides. If I'm going to splurge, it's going to be on a pair of slides. I would never, ever, ever invest in heels because I will never wear them. Sneakers, I actually would like a pair of Yeezys, but like even that, not so much. But I do like investing in slides because I will wear them to the death. My Givenchy slides, it was a joke I was going to walk down the aisle with them. Those slides got me through Europe. I packed 3 pairs of sneakers and those babies, they're falling off my feet and I actually need to get another pair. When it comes to clothes, absolutely freaking not in the slightest. I just discovered Aritzia and I just cannot get myself to spend that type of money. Of course, every single ad on my Facebook are the cutest freaking loungewear sites and it's like $160 for a pair of joggers. I'm like, hell no. So I definitely don't think I'm materialistic at all. Are you a Virgo? If not, what's your sign? You nailed it. How often do you drink? From our channel, it looks like we drink all the time. I do end up having a cocktail on days that we film because of the fact that it's something cute to vlog, like making a cute little cocktail. So it looks like we drink all the time. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but when we do, it's really only 1 or 2 drinks. It's like having a beer or a glass of wine with dinner. We have to finish this before the fire goes out, and it's hard to tell, but it is indeed going out because that is the main source of our life. What kind of car do you have? No one asked what cars did I have, but I'll tell you anyway. My first car, and I shared it on my Instagram, I leased it and I paid for it myself, but was a brand new, at the time, 2013 Volkswagen black buggy, a Beetle convertible. Loved it so much, and honestly, I really, really regret not buying it out. I was planning on it and I didn't, and I so regret it because they stopped making them, and that car was just me. Like, that car fit me so well. I really wish I bought that. Like, do they sell them? They're for sale for like not that much. Vinny?
No.
Is 40K miles on a car a lot?
No. What?
I think I want to buy a No, listen. Vinny. Do you want to see?
No.
Vinny! Guess how much?
25K.
Less, way less. Listen to me, bro. 2013 Volkswagen Beetle convertible with 42K miles.
Why?
Because I miss it, and that car was me.
That's a good.
What if I just returned my Jeep and got it?
So do it. I don't care.
But what if something's wrong with it?
Probably.
But then I wouldn't have it.
An 8-year-old car now. But then you would have an 8-year-old car that probably has issues.
You really think it'd have issues?
Every car has issues after a while.
How about we sell your car? We'll sell yours, you take the Jeep, and I drive the buggy. My new goal this year is to buy a buggy. Vinny's gonna kill me. Oh.
What did you say?
I said my new goal this year is to buy a buggy. All right, new goal. Anyway, turn that lease in. Then I got myself an Audi. 2013, I got my Beetle. 2016. So it was my second year being my own boss. And I remember I just started to like really make my own money and like do well for myself. But we were still living at my dad's house, so I had no rent or mortgage, and I had an in-home studio, so I didn't have rent. So I had zero expenses other than my taxes and my product. I wasn't making that much, but I had so little expenses it felt like it. So I got myself an Audi, and it was beautiful, and I loved it. And then when that lease was up, I was sick of having such a small car that was so low to the ground. Buggy and the Audi I had were two-door, which is very annoying, especially when it comes to, oh, my girlie wants to be on me. Especially when it comes to groceries, which sounds so like stupid, but I was like, my Trader Joe's bags, like it was such a pain in the ass. So then when that lease was up, we were living in the apartment, saving for a house, saving for the wedding, and also I was in my old studio, which was an insane amount of money a month. So I wanted to downgrade, and now I have a Jeep Compass, which is very nice, but it's like a super basic version. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, you can't downgrade. And I was like, okay, watch me, because now I am gonna have a mortgage. Like there was a lot. And that's why I honestly do like leasing, because I like being able to switch it up based on our financial ability at that time. So my lease is actually up in October. So I don't know where I'm gonna be then. I might wanna like upgrade a little bit again. My dream mom car is a Range Rover. So like it kind of stinks, because I feel like if it was next October, I would be real ready for that. But I don't know about this October, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, I have a 2018 Jeep Compass. #1 bucket list vacation destination. Have I said it enough? I wanna go to Portugal, Spain, Croatia, Italy, France, Ireland, Amsterdam, Scotland. Also would love to go to Thailand, Maldives, Bali, Australia. Put me anywhere and I want to go. But I would say top is back to Europe for Portugal, Croatia, Spain, Italy. Would you own a commission or booth renting salon? Not worth it. Love the idea of it. Not for me. In another life, there's so many things that if I had another me to duplicate and make do things, I would do. What is your absolute favorite color line? I would say Redken, then Goldwell and Wella or Tide. Redken for lightener and toners. Wella for natural permanent colors and natural lowlights. Goldwell for fashion colors. Like the 6RV line, like the RR and VVs have been my life forever. The last question is babies anytime soon. I feel like I answer this all the time, but I totally get it. Totally, eventually, not right now. Few things left that we want to do. If it comes to actually like planning a time, I would say a few more years. I'm 25 and he's 27. I think that maybe like 27 and 29 is a good age, or 28 and 30, but we'll see. It's so funny, as much of a Virgo and a planner that I am with huge things like this, I don't really, and Vinny definitely doesn't. He's so not like a planner like that. So like with the little second puppy, like we always were like, when should we, what about this, what about this? And none of those times were right. And then randomly we submitted an application on a Monday, just like, they're probably not gonna call us anyway. And we had Harlow in our arms as our dog by Thursday. And I'm so happy that we didn't any of the other times, because then we wouldn't have her. Same thing with Beasley. We were not planning on getting a dog. That morning we woke up not having a dog, and that night we went to sleep having a dog. Huge things I've noticed for us work better when we don't plan them so exactly. I definitely consider myself a short-term planner, but not a long-time planner. I know exactly all the things I have to do over the next few days, over the next week, and I know it just over the next year, but I'm not one of those people that's in like 5 years, I want to be doing exactly this. There's definitely pros and cons to having a baby right now. I do have a lot of friends that got pregnant this year, and it is nice because it's like we are home all the time, which is why we wanted to get another puppy. So we're home all the time, especially a lot of people that don't usually work from home are working from home. So that's obviously great for babies. And you can't have FOMO of all your friends traveling and partying because they can't. But on the other hand, I would prefer to not have to worry about Vinny going into the sonogram appointments with me, and I would like to have a baby shower without worrying about wearing a mask. If our timeline also lines up to when COVID is chilled the F out a little bit, that'd be great. I think that basically does it for today's video. I love doing Q&As, and I think you guys get to like learn about me a little bit more. I know a lot of influencers, they'll do an Instagram Q&A if you're not already following me at Palmeriabby. Some people do a Sunday Q&A on Instagram every week. Let me know if you think I should do something like that, or if you think that I should maybe do a Q&A on YouTube maybe every month or 2 months. You guys let me know what you're thinking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on all the bell and post notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.